But I'm not a leader, so why does this apply to me? Hey everybody, Pastor Nicole here, and such a great question. I think that a lot of us question whether we're leaders because maybe we don't look like what we think a leader looks like, right? Like maybe we don't have a ton of followers that are following us. Maybe we're not up in front of people telling them what to do. Maybe we're not, didn't get that promotion at work that puts us up here, right? That doesn't mean you're not a leader in your life. We are all leaders. We all have influence. We all have people in our lives that are looking to us. So maybe that's our children. Maybe that's our grandchildren, nieces, nephews, other family. Maybe it's somebody at work that looks up to us and is kind of seeing how we lead our lives and how we react to things that happen to us. Maybe it's our friends that are looking to us. There's all different kinds of leadership in our lives, all different spaces and places where we are leading. And sometimes we don't even really acknowledge it because, well, we didn't really think of it that way. This weekend, we talked about a lesser known leader in the Bible, a woman by the name of Deborah, who is a judge in ancient Israel, meaning she was the leader of the Israelites for a time. And scripture tells us that people would come to her. She would sit underneath what was called Deborah's palm, and she would sit there and people would come to her and look to her for advice and wisdom and guidance. Now, maybe you don't have people flocking to you for advice, wisdom, and guidance, but maybe you actually do. Maybe you have friends that are mentioning something to you, looking for how would you handle this? Maybe you have somebody at work or your kids that are just learning from whatever you do. We can all be leaders. If we look at ourselves like that, we are all leaders, really. Deborah gives us this incredible blueprint on how to lead. She shows us how to be a faithful leader, how to serve God and serve people. And we talked about 3 ways that she does that. First, she listens for the voice of God. So she doesn't just do whatever she wants. She's listening for God. And that's why she has so much wisdom and guidance to share with others, because she's listening to the voice of God to share with others. 2, she's an encourager. So she comes alongside people and helps them move through whatever they're facing. We talked about the story where Barak was too afraid to go into battle, and so he asked Deborah to march out with him, and she did. And then at the end of that battle, what does she do? She points people back to God. Why? So that they can hear the voice of God, so that they can encourage others, and so that they can point people back to God. Do you see how her leadership is pouring into other people so that they can grow in their leadership? That's exactly what God is calling us to do, to listen for the voice of God, to encourage others, and then to point them back to God so that they can listen for the voice of God and encourage others. We're creating a cycle of faithful leaders, of people who serve God and serve others. So that's why the story of Deborah is so important, because we're all leaders. We all can be faithful leaders if we follow in Deborah's footsteps. So as you're going about your life this week, maybe think about, how can I be a faithful leader in my life this week? How can I listen for God's voice? How can I encourage somebody else? And how can I point people back to God? And if you do those things, I think that you'll find that God's working in your life just like he was working in Deborah's. Hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you this weekend. Bye.